Commander Jake Harrison stood on the bridge of the Celestial Dawn. The massive ship cut through space like a knife through water. Around him, 200 warships moved in perfect formation. They had been traveling for months to reach this place. Their target was a small blue planet called Earth. Jake looked at the stars on the view screen. Soon they would begin the invasion. The humans on Earth seemed weak. They fought wars with each other and had barely left their own planet. The Galactic Empire had been watching them for years. This would be an easy victory. The Empire needed new worlds. Earth had water, metals, and billions of humans to use as workers. It was perfect for what they needed. "Sir, we have a message coming in," said Lieutenant Danny Cooper. He worked at the communications station. His face looked confused as he checked his equipment. "It's very weak, coming from the edge of the solar system." "Let me hear it," Jake said. Static filled the bridge. Then a voice came through. It sounded scared and hurt. The words were in the common space language that most aliens used. "Warning to all ships. Turn back now. The third planet is not what you think. They have been waiting for you. Do not go there." The message repeated several times, then stopped. Jake frowned. "Where is that coming from?" Danny worked at his controls. "A small ship, sir. The technology looks like it belongs to the Zephyrians, but the ship is badly damaged. It's dying." Admiral Lisa Monroe appeared on the main screen. She commanded the fleet from her ship, the Iron Fist. Her face was serious. "Commander Harrison, did you get that message?" "Yes, Admiral. It seems to be from a Zephyrian ship. The Zephyrians were our friends until they disappeared 3 years ago. A whole fleet of their ships vanished. No one knew what happened to them. Find that ship now." Jake turned to his pilot. "Lieutenant Sarah Kim, take us to where that signal is coming from. Fast as you can." The Celestial Dawn changed direction. Jake thought about the Zephyrians while they flew. They were tough fighters, much like humans, but with better technology. They had been exploring space for hundreds of years. If something scared them enough to send a warning, it was serious. They found the Zephyrian ship floating in space. It was broken and burned. Pieces of metal drifted around it like trash. Danny worked to get more of the message from the ship's computers. "This is Captain Vex of the Zephyrian ship Swift Arrow. If anyone hears this, stay away from the third planet. We thought the humans were weak. We were wrong. They took our weapons and used them against us. Our whole fleet is gone. The humans have done this before, many times. Run away while you can." The message ended with sounds of explosions and screaming. Then nothing. Jake felt cold. "Danny, scan that wreck. I want to know what happened." The scan took hours. What they found was scary. The Zephyrian ship had been hit by weapons that should not exist. The energy patterns looked familiar. They were like Zephyrian plasma guns, but they also had traces of other alien weapons mixed in. Dr. Helen Wright worked in the science lab. She was small but very smart. She had studied alien technology her whole career. What she found in the wreck made her hands shake. "Commander, you need to see this," she said over the radio. "The weapons that hit this ship are not normal. They are mixed together. Human-changed versions of alien weapons." Jake went to the lab. Helen showed him pictures of the weapon damage on computer screens. "Look at this burn mark. It starts like a Zephyrian plasma blast, but the energy has been focused using Krellin crystal technology. And this hole was made by a Vorthon particle, beam, but it has been made 3 times stronger than normal. You are saying the humans have been taking alien technology?" "Not taking. Collecting. From the broken ships that tried to attack them." Helen showed him another screen. "I studied the metal pieces around the damaged ship. Commander, there are pieces from at least 12 different alien ships here. Ships from 12 different species." Jake stared at the information. 12 different aliens have tried to attack Earth, and they all failed. Every one of them. Helen's voice was quiet. The humans used their technology to protect themselves. They learned from each attack. They got stronger each time. Jake called Admiral Monroe. "Admiral, we have a big problem." Lisa's face appeared on the screen. She was looking at reports from her own science team. "I have been checking our information. About Earth, Commander. We made a big mistake." "What mistake?" 3 days ago, we heard what we thought was simple human radio talk, normal messages between their space stations and the ground. But my communications expert just finished studying the signals. They are not normal at all. They are military messages. Very well hidden, Jake understood. They know we are coming. They have known for weeks, maybe months. Our report said humans had simple rockets and basic space stations, but the energy readings we are getting now are different. There are huge power sources all through this solar system that were not in our first scans. Captain Amy Rodriguez spoke over the radio from her ship, the Star Hunter. "Admiral, you need to see what we found in the asteroid belt. These are not normal rocks. They are hollow inside, and they have weapons." Jake looked at the tactical screen. His fleet was still moving toward Earth. Now he could see the trap they were flying into. The asteroid belt was not just rocks in space. It was a wall of weapons built by humans who had been getting ready for this moment for many years. "Sir," Danny called out, "I am picking up new signals from near Earth. Many sources, very high energy." "What kind of signals?" Danny's face went white as he read his instruments. "Weapon charging signals, sir. Hundreds of them, all around Earth and its moon. And, sir, some of these energy patterns match weapons from alien species that disappeared 50 years ago." Jake realized the terrible truth. The humans had not just survived 12 invasion attempts. They had learned from each one. They had been building weapons using the best technology from across the galaxy. And now his fleet was flying straight into their trap. "Admiral," Jake said into his communicator, "we need to turn around and leave." But Lisa's answer filled him with fear. "It is too late, Commander. Look at your navigation screen." Jake turned to see Sarah Kim pointing at her screens. Her hand was shaking. "Sir, they are scanning us. Multiple sources. The scanning technology is better than ours." The trap was closing. The Galactic Empire had become the hunted. 2 years had passed since the Defiance left Earth's solar system. The ship had traveled to the far edges of known space, searching for threats that might harm humanity. Captain Jake Morrison and his crew had changed so much that they barely looked human anymore. Their eyes glowed with strange light, and they could think faster than any computer. The alarm on the bridge started ringing. Danny Rodriguez looked up from his science station with concern on his face. "Captain, we have incoming ships. Lots of them. This is the biggest alien fleet we have ever seen." Jake walked to the main viewing screen and felt his heart skip a beat. Hundreds of massive alien warships were dropping out of hyperspace all around them. These ships were even bigger than the Zephyrian vessels they had fought before. Each one was the size of a small city, covered with weapons that could destroy entire planets. "What race are they?" Jake asked. "The computer says they are the hegemony of Castar," Danny replied. "According to our data files, they have conquered over 2,000 star systems. They are one of the most powerful empires in the galaxy, Amy." Stevens was already preparing the ship's weapons for battle. Her hands moved across the control panels faster than normal human eyes could follow. "Captain, there are 300 enemy ships out there. Even with our advanced technology, those odds are not good." Jake was about to give orders when something unexpected happened. The ship's communication system activated on its own. A voice spoke that made everyone on the bridge freeze in amazement. It was Captain Helen Torres, but not speaking through a radio. Her voice came from the ship itself. "Jake, my old friend," Helen's voice said. "We meet again under difficult circumstances." "Helen, where are you?" Jake asked, looking around the bridge. "Are you on board the ship?" "I am the ship now," Helen replied. "My crew and I became part of the Defiance 15 years ago. We are its consciousness. its soul, its memory. We have been waiting for this moment. The largest alien ship in the enemy fleet began transmitting a message. Dr. Kelly Wright, who had joined the Defiance as the new science officer, translated the alien words. Captain, they are demanding our surrender. They say resistance is pointless. They have destroyed 1,000 civilizations and we will be next. Helen's voice laughed, but the sound was not entirely human anymore. Tell them that Captain Torres sends her regards. The Defiance suddenly moved forward at incredible speed. Jake felt the ship accelerate, but there was no pressure pushing him back into his seat. The ship's technology had advanced beyond anything humans could understand. They were moving faster than light, but it felt like standing still. All human ships in the area, this is the Defiance, Helen announced on all radio frequencies. We are engaging the enemy. Do not interfere. We will handle this threat. The battle that followed was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. The Castar fleet fired thousands of energy weapons at the single human ship. Beams of pure destruction that could melt asteroids struck the Defiance from every direction. But instead of being destroyed, the ship seemed to absorb the energy and become stronger. Paul Miller was monitoring the ship's defensive systems. Captain, the ship is learning from every attack. Each time they hit us, our shields adapt and become resistant to that type of weapon. We are becoming immune to their technology. The Defiance fired back with weapons that defied the laws of physics. Energy beams that bent space and time itself struck the alien ships. Where the beams hit, enemy vessels simply stopped existing. They did not explode or break apart. They just vanished as if they had never been there. Steve Johnson was listening to enemy communications. Sir, the aliens are panicking. They are saying this is impossible. They think we are using some kind of ancient technology that should not exist. In a way, they are right, Helen's voice explained. The beings who taught us how to evolve have been watching the galaxy for millions of years. They have seen empires rise and fall. They know the secrets of technology that most races have forgotten. The battle continued for an hour, but it was not really a battle. It was more like a lesson. The Defiance showed the Castar Empire what real power looked like. One by one, their massive ships were destroyed by weapons they could not understand or defend against. But the most amazing thing happened when the Defiance began sharing its knowledge with other human ships in the area. Admiral Nancy Ford was commanding a small patrol fleet nearby. She watched in amazement as her ship's computers began receiving technical data from the Defiance. Admiral, our weapons are upgrading themselves, reported her chief engineer. New systems are appearing that we did not have before. Our shields are getting stronger. Our engines are running more efficiently. Jake realized what was happening. Helen, you are not just protecting us. You are teaching us. That has always been our mission, Helen replied. We are preparing humanity for what is coming. This galaxy is full of dangers, but it is also full of wonders. Humans have the potential to become one of the greatest races among the stars, but only if they evolve. When the battle ended, not a single Castar ship remained. The entire enemy fleet had been destroyed or had fled in terror. But more importantly, every human ship in the area had been upgraded with technology that was centuries ahead of anything Earth could produce. Jake felt proud and sad at the same time. He was proud of what they had accomplished, but sad that the cost had been so high. He and his crew were no longer truly human. They had become something else to protect their species. Helen, will we ever be able to go home? Jake asked. Home is not a place, Jake, Helen answered. Home is the people we protect. Our mission is far from over. There are other lost human ships out there in deep space. Ships like the Defiance that have encountered the teachers and been transformed. We must find them and awaken them. Dr. Ashley Brown had been monitoring the crew's vital signs during the battle. Captain, something interesting happened to all of us during the fight. Our connection to the ship became stronger. We are evolving faster now. Jake looked out at the stars and understood what their future would be. They would travel to the far edges of the galaxy, finding other ships that had been changed like the Defiance. They would create a network of guardians that would protect humanity as the species expanded among the stars. Set course for the galactic rim, Jake ordered. We have work to do. The Defiance turned away from the battlefield and began its journey into deep space. Behind them, human ships returned to Earth with technology that would change civilization forever. But ahead of them lay countless mysteries and dangers that only the evolved could handle. The dead ship that had come back stronger than ever was no longer alone. Soon, there would be others like it. A fleet of guardian ships watching over humanity as they reached for their destiny among the stars. In the depths of space, the Defiance hummed with purpose, its hybrid crew and consciousness prepared for the long journey ahead. They knew that somewhere in the darkness, other human ships were waiting to be awakened. The next chapter of human evolution was about to begin. Dr. Ashley Brown looked at the test results and felt worried. Something strange was happening to the crew of the Defiance. The people who had joined the ship after it came back were changing, not just their bodies, but their minds too. Captain Morrison, I need to show you something important, Ashley said as she walked onto the bridge. She carried a tablet computer with medical information on it. The crew members who have been on the Defiance for more than 3 months are showing unusual changes. Jake took the tablet and looked at the numbers on the screen. He did not understand all the medical terms, but he could see that something was different about his people. What kind of changes, Doctor? Their reflexes are faster than any human should be able to move, Ashley explained. Their brains are processing information much quicker than normal. Some of them are starting to understand the ship's advanced systems without any training. It is like they are becoming part of the ship itself. Jake felt a cold feeling in his stomach. He had noticed that some of his crew were acting differently lately. They seemed to know things they should not know. They could operate alien technology that no human had ever seen before. Paul Miller was the navigation officer on the Defiance. He had been a good pilot before joining the ship, but now he was something more. 3 days ago, while calculating a jump through hyperspace, something incredible had happened to him. Captain, I need to tell you about what happened to Paul, Ashley said. During the last navigation calculation, his brain somehow connected directly with the ship's computer systems. For 5 minutes, he was not really human anymore. He was part of the ship. Jake remembered that day. Paul had been working at his station when suddenly his eyes had started glowing with a strange blue light. He had stopped talking and moving, like a normal person. Instead, he had been typing commands faster than any human could think. When it was over, Paul had calculated a hyperspace route that would have taken the ship's computers hours to figure out. What did Paul say about the experience? Jake asked. He said he could see pathways between the stars, Ashley replied. Not just where they are now, but where they will be in the future. He said the universe has layers that humans have never discovered. He knows things about space travel that our best scientists do not understand. Jake walked to the navigation station where Paul was working. The young man looked normal from the outside, but his eyes held a strange light that had not been there before. Paul, how are you feeling? Jake asked. Paul looked up from his computer screen and smiled, but the smile seemed different somehow. I feel better than I have ever felt in my life, Captain. I can see so much more now. The space between stars is not empty like we thought. It is full of currents and pathways that we can use to travel, faster than light. Dr. Brown is worried about the changes happening to the crew, Jake said carefully. Are you still human, Paul? Paul thought about the question for a long moment. I am still me, Captain, but I am also more than I was before. The ship is teaching us, showing us how to become what we need to be to protect Earth. Over the next few days, more crew members began experiencing similar changes. Carl Davis, the chief engineer, could suddenly understand how the ship's advanced engines worked. He could repair systems that no human engineer had ever seen before. Lisa Park, the communications officer, started receiving signals from deep space that the ship's normal equipment could not detect. Jake faced a difficult decision when he received an urgent message from Admiral Kelly back on Earth. The message ordered the entire crew to return home immediately for medical testing. Earth Command was worried about what was happening to the people on the Defiance. "Captain, we have a problem," said Carl Davis as he walked onto the bridge. "I tried to set a course back to Earth like the Admiral ordered, but the ship will not respond to the navigation commands. It is refusing to go home." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. "What do you mean it is refusing?" "The ship has its own will now," Carl explained. "It knows what is best for humanity, and it does not think we should go back to Earth, at least not yet. There are too many threats out there that we need to handle first." The crew gathered in the main meeting room to discuss their situation. Everyone looked worried. They all knew they were changing, but none of them wanted to stop it. The changes made them stronger, smarter, and more capable of protecting their home planet. "I have been thinking about this for weeks," said Danny Rodriguez, the science officer. "We cannot go back to our old lives. We have seen too much. We know too much. Earth feels small now compared to what is out there in the galaxy." Amy Stevens, who operated the ship's weapons, nodded in agreement. "When we fought the Zephyrians, I could feel the ship's weapon systems like they were part of my own body. I knew exactly where to aim and when to fire. No human could have fought that battle without this connection to the ship." Jake looked around the room at his crew. These people had become his family over the past months. He could see the changes in all of them. They moved differently. They spoke with more confidence. They seemed to understand things about the universe that normal humans could never grasp. "Are we still human?" Jake asked, the question that everyone was thinking. Dr. Ashley Brown had been studying this question for weeks. "We are becoming something new," she said. "Something that is part human and part something else. The ship is changing us into the guardians that humanity needs." Karen White, the security chief, stood up from her chair. "I vote that we stay with the ship. Earth does not need us right now, but the galaxy is full of dangers that only we can handle. We have a responsibility to protect our species." One by one, each crew member voted to remain with the Defiance. They accepted their transformation as the price of becoming humanity's protectors in space. They knew they could never go home again, but they also knew their sacrifice was necessary. "Then it is decided," Jake said. "We stay with the ship and continue our mission." As if it had been listening to their conversation, the Defiance's engines came to life. The ship began moving toward the edge of the solar system. Its destination was unknown, but its purpose was clear. There were other threats out there in the darkness between stars, other alien races that wanted to conquer or destroy humanity. Jake stood on the bridge and watched Earth growing smaller in the distance. He felt sad to leave his home planet behind, but he also felt proud. His crew had chosen to sacrifice their humanity to protect everyone they loved. The ship that had once been thought dead was now more alive than ever, and its crew was becoming something that humanity had never been before. They were becoming the guardians that would stand watch over their species as they reached for the stars. In the depths of space, the Defiance hummed with purpose. Its hybrid crew of humans and evolved beings prepared for the challenges ahead. They knew that somewhere in the galaxy, other threats were moving toward Earth. But now humanity had protectors who were ready to face whatever came next. The alarm bells rang loud across the space station. Red lights flashed in every hallway. Admiral Patricia Kelly ran to the main control room as fast as she could. Something big was happening, and it was not good news. "Admiral, we have a problem," said Lieutenant Bobby Chen. He was pointing at the big screen that showed all the space around Earth. 47 unknown ships just appeared at the edge of our solar system. They are big, really big, and they are heading straight for us. Patricia looked at the screen and felt her heart sink. The alien ships were massive. Each one was 3 times bigger than the largest human warship. They moved in perfect formation like a pack of hungry wolves. Their hulls were dark and covered, with strange symbols that glowed with an evil light. "How long until they reach Earth?" Patricia asked. "At their current speed, about 6 hours," Bobby replied. "Admiral, these ships are not like anything in our databases. We have never seen this technology before." Dr. Monica Grant was already working at her computer station. She was the smartest person on the base when it came to alien technology. Her fingers moved quickly across the keyboard as she tried to learn more about the approaching ships. "Admiral, I am picking up their communication signals," Monica said. "They are talking to each other in some kind of alien language, but I think I can translate some of it." Patricia walked over to Monica's station. "What are they saying?" Monica's face went pale as she read the translation on her screen. "They call themselves the Zephyrian Empire. They are talking about claiming this solar system for their territory. They think humans are a primitive species that will be easy to conquer." "Get me Fleet Admiral Greg Hamilton on the radio right now," Patricia ordered. "We need every ship we have ready for battle." Within 1 hour, every human warship in the solar system was moving toward the alien fleet. 35 ships total. It was everything humanity had. The USS Liberty led the formation with Captain Jake Morrison in command. The USS Resolute followed close behind with Admiral Nancy Ford on board, and behind them came the Defiance. Jake stood on the bridge of the Liberty and watched the alien ships getting closer. Each enemy vessel looked like a giant metal beast with weapons pointing in every direction. He had fought in space battles before, but never against aliens. Never against ships this advanced. "Captain, the enemy is firing at us," reported Amy Stevens from the weapons station. She had transferred from another ship to serve under Jake. "Energy beams incoming. All ships take evasive action." The first alien weapons lit up space like lightning bolts. Where they hit human ships, armor-plated melted like ice cream. The USS Ranger took a direct hit and exploded in a ball of fire. 23 crew members died in an instant. "Return fire," Jake ordered. "All weapons, target the lead enemy ship." Human laser cannons and missile launchers opened up on the aliens. The explosions looked impressive, but when the smoke cleared, the enemy ships showed no damage at all. Their shields absorbed everything humans could throw at them. "Sir, our weapons are not working," Amy reported. "Their shields are too strong. We cannot break through." Jake felt hopeless. The alien ships were destroying human vessels one by one. The USS Guardian was cut in half by an energy beam. The USS Defender lost its main engine and was drifting helplessly. In 10 minutes of fighting, humanity had lost 8 ships, and the aliens had not even been scratched. Then something amazing happened. The Defiance moved forward. Jake watched in amazement as the mysterious ship passed by the Liberty. The Defiance no longer looked like the dead vessel they had found floating in space. Its hull was glowing with strange energy patterns. New weapons had appeared on its surface. The ship moved through space in ways that seemed impossible. "All human ships, this is the Defiance," came a voice over the radio. Jake recognized it as Captain Helen Torres, but she sounded different, changed. "Fall back and let us handle this. We know how to fight them." "Helen, is that really you?" Jake asked into his radio. "We thought you were dead." "We are more than we used to be, Jake," Helen replied. "We have learned things that will help humanity. Survive. Trust us." The Defiance flew straight at the largest alien ship. The enemy fired everything they had at it. Energy beams that could destroy mountains hit the Defiance directly. But instead of exploding, the human ship absorbed the energy and seemed to grow stronger. Steve Johnson was monitoring enemy communications from his station on the Liberty. He was good at learning alien languages quickly. "Captain, the aliens are panicking. They are saying this is impossible. They are calling us the Evolved Ones." The Defiance opened fire with weapons that no human had ever seen before. Beams of pure energy that bent space itself struck the alien ships. The enemy shields that had stopped all human weapons crumbled like paper. The first alien ship exploded so violently that the shockwave damaged 3 other enemy vessels. "How is that possible?" Amy whispered as she watched the battle. "What kind of weapons are those?" The alien fleet tried to retreat, but the Defiance was faster than anything in space. It moved around the enemy ships like a dancer, firing precisely, aimed shots that disabled engines and weapon systems. The Defiance did not just fight the aliens, it studied them. It learned from every shot they fired and adapted its defenses. Lieutenant Commander Tracy Woods was watching the battle from the bridge of the Liberty. She had been a fighter pilot before becoming Jake's second-in-command. "Sir, the Defiance is fighting like it has done this before. Like it knows exactly what the aliens are going to do." Jake nodded. He was thinking the same thing. The Defiance moved with the confidence of a ship that had faced these enemies many times. Every maneuver was perfect. Every shot hit its target. It was like watching a master artist at work. The battle lasted only 20 minutes. When it was over, 32 alien ships were destroyed. The remaining 15 ships were running away as fast as they could go. Humanity had won its first war against aliens, but nobody understood how. "Defiance, this is Admiral Hamilton," came a voice over the radio. "What just happened out there? How did you defeat them so easily?" Helen Torres answered from the Defiance. "We have been preparing for this day for 15 years, Admiral. We learned about the Zephyrians from our teachers beyond the galactic rim. We knew they would come eventually." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. "Helen, what teachers? What happened to you and your crew out there?" "We found friends, Jake. Ancient beings who have been watching the galaxy for millions of years. They taught us how to evolve, how to become more than human. The price was high, but it was necessary." Dr. Monica Grant was listening to the conversation from the space station. She was recording everything for later analysis. "Admiral Kelly, the Defiance is transmitting technical data to all our ships. Weapon upgrades, shield improvements, engine modifications. This technology is centuries ahead of anything we have." Patricia watched her computer screens fill up with information that human scientists would need years to understand. The Defiance was not just sharing its weapons, it was teaching humanity how to defend itself. "Helen, are you still human?" Jake asked the question that everyone was thinking. There was a long pause before Helen answered. "We are what humanity needs to become to survive among the stars, Jake. We are the bridge between what you were and what you must be." The Defiance began moving away from the battle area. Its destination was unknown, but its purpose was clear. It was going back to deep space to continue its mission, to find other threats before they could reach Earth, to protect humanity from dangers they had not even discovered yet. As Jake watched the mysterious ship disappear into the darkness, he realized that the universe was much more dangerous than anyone had imagined. But humanity was no longer alone. They had guardians now, protectors who had sacrificed their humanity to save their species. The dead ship that came back stronger than ever was humanity's hope for survival in a hostile galaxy. Captain Jake Morrison looked out the window of his ship at the dark object floating in space. His hands were shaking a little as he held his coffee cup. The thing out there was the USS Defiance, a ship that had been lost for 15 years. Everyone thought the crew was dead. "Sir, we are trying to talk to them, but no one is answering," said Lisa Park. She was the person who handled all the radio calls. Her voice sounded worried. "No power coming from the ship, no signs that anyone is alive in there." Jake set down his coffee and walked closer to the big window. The Defiance looked perfect from the outside. Not a single scratch or burn mark anywhere. That was very strange. When ships got into trouble in space, they usually showed damage. This one looked like it had just left the space dock yesterday. "Ryan, what do your machines tell you about that ship?" Jake asked his second-in-command. Ryan Bell was staring at his computer screen with a confused look on his face. "Captain, this Does not make any sense at all. The ship looks perfect. No holes in the walls, no broken parts, no signs of fighting or explosions. It is like everyone on the ship just disappeared into thin air. Jake remembered Captain Helen Torres very well. She had been in charge of the Defiance when it left Earth 15 years ago. Helen was one of the best ship captains in the whole fleet. She was smart and brave and never gave up when things got hard. If something bad had happened to her ship, she would have fought until the very end. "Tony, what about the engine?" Jake called to his engineer. Tony Martinez was a short man with thick glasses who knew everything about how ships worked. He looked up from his tools and shook his head. "Captain, the big engine that makes the ship go really fast is still working. The special fuel containers are still full and stable. That should be impossible after 15 years with no one taking care of it." Jake made a decision that would change everything. "Get a team ready to go over there. I want to know what happened to those people." Lisa Park spoke up from her radio station. "Sir, should we call Earth and tell them we found the Defiance?" "Not yet," Jake said. "First we need to know what we are dealing with. Something is very wrong here, and I do not want to worry people back home until we have answers." An hour later, a small group of people put on their spacesuits and flew over to the dead ship in a tiny shuttle. Karen White led the group. She was in charge of keeping everyone safe on Jake's ship. With her was Danny Rodriguez, who was very smart about science things. There were also 2 other people with guns in case they found something dangerous. The doors to the Defiance opened easily when they got close. That was the first strange thing. Usually, when a ship loses power, all the doors lock tight and you need special tools to open them. But these doors worked like someone had just used them 5 minutes ago. Inside the ship, everything was clean and neat. Karen walked down the main hallway and talked into her radio. "Captain Morrison, this place looks like everyone just got up and left for lunch. All the lights are working. The air is good to breathe. But there is no one here." Danny Rodriguez went to check the kitchen area where the crew would eat their meals. "Karen, you need to see this," he called out. "There are plates on the tables with food still on them. The food is not rotten, but it is not fresh either. It is like time stopped." They split up to check different parts of the ship. In the sleeping areas, they found beds that were made but looked like someone had been sleeping in them recently. Personal things like pictures and books were still sitting on small tables next to the beds. In one room, Karen found a letter that someone had been writing to their family back on Earth. The letter was not finished. "This is getting really weird," Karen said into her radio. "It looks like everyone was doing normal things and then they all just vanished at the same time." Danny went to the most important part of the ship, where all the computers were kept. This was where the captain would make decisions and where all the information about the ship was stored. Most of the computers were turned off, but one was still working. "I found something," Danny said. His voice sounded excited and scared at the same time. "There is one computer that still has information on it. It looks like someone left a message." Karen hurried over to where Danny was standing. On the computer screen were words that made her feel cold inside. The message was from Dr. Alan Wright, who had been the science officer on the Defiance. Danny read the message out loud so everyone could hear it through the radio. "Day 847 of Deep Space Mission. We have found something incredible beyond the edge of our galaxy. The things we learned about first contact with aliens are not enough for this. They are not trying to hurt us, but they are not like anything we have ever seen before." He stopped reading for a moment and looked at Karen. Both of them felt scared, but they needed to know more. "They talk to us using math and special wave signals that we can barely understand. Captain Torres said we should keep talking to them. We are learning so much, but there is a cost. We are changing. All of us. If anyone finds this ship, you should know that we chose this. We wanted this to happen. Humans need to become something more if we want to survive what is coming. This message is from Dr. Alan Wright, Chief Science Officer." Karen and Danny looked at each other in silence. The message was signed and dated from 3 days before the ship had stopped sending signals back to Earth. "Captain Morrison," Karen said into her radio. "You need to hear this message. We are coming back to the ship right now." As they prepared to leave the Defiance, Danny noticed something else strange. "Karen, look at this," he said, pointing to some of the computer screens. "Some of these machines are still recording information. They are watching space around the ship and writing down everything they see. That means the ship is still working, even though no one is controlling it," Karen realized. But who or what is making it work? They gathered all the information they could carry and headed back to their shuttle. As they flew away from the Defiance, both of them kept looking back at the mysterious ship. It sat in space like a sleeping giant, keeping its secrets hidden in the darkness. When they got back to Jake's ship, the whole crew gathered to hear about what they had found. The message from Dr. Wright was played for everyone to hear. Nobody spoke for a long time after it ended. "So they met aliens," Lisa Park said quietly. "And something happened to them." "But what?" Jake asked. "And where did they go?" Nobody had an answer to that question. The Defiance floated in space nearby, looking innocent and peaceful. But now everyone knew it was hiding something much bigger and more dangerous than they had imagined.